Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I'm going to read another story from Good Heavens, the book. It is my collection of stories from heaven. This is strictly my idea of heaven, not everybody's, but a perfectly good one for anyone who believes that God has a sense of humour. If, however, you do not believe that God has a sense of humour, will you please go somewhere into a quiet corner and say a prayer for the rest of us? Thank you very much. This story is called High on High. You may remember that God was on holiday in Mallorca and needed a stand-in to run things while he was away. So Agnes, who was the goddess of the North Yorkshire Moors with special responsibility for Danby Dale, has been seconded into the position and is running things. That's all you need to know. High on High. What? Michael's jaw dropped as he registered the news. He wants to stay for how long? You mean we have to put up with all these sheep for another week? Raphael nodded glumly. I'm afraid that's right. Gabe has persuaded him that Mallorca is the hip place to be, that cooling out is the hip thing to do, and that a bit of grass now and again isn't really sinful. So we have to run this place and keep Agnes and the flock happy. By the way, how are the cherubim doing in their knitting lessons? Oh, that's going fine, Rafe. We have a good stock of fluffy little clouds knitted already. The only problem is where to store them. I'm using the old induction warehouse at the moment. You know, the one we built to cope with the Middle East war. We don't seem to be getting as many customers these days. Perhaps the humans are losing the knack. I don't think they'll ever lose that, Mike. They seem to delight in finding better ways to bump each other off. It's only a matter of time. The throne room was bustling with angels and sheep, on business or simply grazing as nature befitted. Agnes was holding audience as God's stand-in. The plaintiff was a scruffy-looking young man, unshaven and wearing torn clothes. Leading Seraphim Debbie was representing him. Lord, I beg your pardon, Lady, this young man is petitioning against a long sentence in purgatory. His crime was a little dalliance with the girls in the valley. Actually, quite a lot of dalliance. There were 12 all told, and he has 10 sons and 2 daughters to prove it. He was sentenced to 10,000 years in purgatory in the men-only section. Wait a minute, I've lost my place. We do feel this is a bit harsh, as all the girls were more than willing, and there weren't any other boys living in the valley. Thank you, Debbie. Agnes looked up from her knitting. Tell me your name, young man. Dick, the young man replied. Oh, that's apt. And how did you come to die so young, Dick? I fell from a window, lady. Her father was coming up the stairs with his shotgun and I slipped climbing out. I fell about 50 feet, down the hillside, and broke my neck. It still hurts a bit. Well, I suppose I should say it serves you right. Dalliance is against the rules. What was your occupation, Dick? Well, lady, I was a shepherd. I looked after almost all the sheep in the valley. That's how I got to know the girls. They would bring their flocks to me for looking after, and stay on the hillside for a bit of, yes, we know. Now, apart from the sheep and the girls, what else did you do on the mountain? There wasn't anything else to do, except these. Dick reached inside his coat and pulled out a set of panpipes, battered and discoloured. He held them out towards Agnes. These, lady. I taught myself to play these. Well then, you must play them for us. Go on, give us a taste of mountain air. Dick put the pipes to his mouth and began to play. The sounds were indeed a taste of mountain air. The tune told of breezes blowing down the valley, of sheep contentedly grazing, and of girls coming up the hillside to be loved. The gathered angels were entranced. The sheep stopped grazing to listen, and nobody moved. Agnes put down her knitting needles and rubbed her eyes as though she had something in them. Dick stopped playing and silence filled the room. Oh dear, was I that bad? I've never played in public before. I'm sorry, lady. No, Dick, you weren't bad at all. In fact, you were good. Very good. It reminded me of Danby Dale in the spring, and Danby Dale is special. I'm going to reduce your sentence, but there are conditions. First, you have to come and play for us every day at Ambrosia time. Then you have to promise to be good and not get up to any more dalliance. At least, not until your sentence is finished. I'll reduce the sentence to 6 months, and you will then have the job of shepherd to the heavenly flock. Do you accept the terms? Oh, heck, said Michael. The place will be full of scruffy shepherds and mountain goats before long. She should have given him the job of cleaning up after the flock. The smell in here is getting a bit much. I've got an idea for that, said Rafe. There's an Elysian field line fallow just behind the orchard. I know Gabe uses it for recreational purposes, but it serves him right if it ends up full of sheep. Got the picture, said Michael. Let's put the heavenly host on the job. Gabe's crop should liven them up a bit, and they'll be out of harm's way. Bonza, said Michael. Let's tell the host now. 3 days later, Michael and Raphael received an urgent summons to the throne room. They entered to see Agnes, not knitting. Oh, that's a bad sign, said Rafe. What have we done now? Agnes waited until both archangels were standing directly in front of her. She looked suitably stern as she pointed towards the ceiling. I think you two are responsible for that. Michael and Raphael looked up to see a whole flock of sheep stuck to the ceiling, bleating and wriggling as they tried to get back down. It's the grass, said Michael. Gabe's grass, they're as high as kites. Of course they were light enough to begin with for the fleecy cloud knitting. Gabe's grass has just made a bit too much difference. Well, said Agnes, how do we get them down again? They can't stay up there for eternity. Any bright ideas? Raphael frowned and then smiled. Got it, he said. We fit them with little barrels of ambrosia like those St. Bernards in the Alps. Or is it the Pyrenees? Look, said Michael, we don't have to worry about it. They're coming down themselves. There's one down and the others are looking heavier. The grass must be wearing off. Sure enough, the sheep were descending one by one as they regained weight. The only worry is, what's become of Gabe's crop, said Rafe ruefully. Cherubim's second-class Tracy held up a hand and sort of waved. I don't think you have to worry about that, she slurred. The drop-ins have worked wonders for the crop. The grass is as high as an elephant's eye, and the quality is out of this world. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that. And don't forget, the book is on sale in Amazon if you wish to buy it. Well done.